Out there, I saw something on HGTV once, and I knew about Jimmy Carter, and but connecting all the pieces, which I'm going to do now for you, wasn't quite done. And so, first, we help people like you volunteer with people, homeowners, to build their own homes, and then they buy those homes and pay an affordable mortgage. And so the idea is that we build a home and sell it at cost, interest-free, to a family in need. And what does that look like? Need manifests itself a number of different ways. First, it's terrible living conditions, as you can picture in your mind. Horrible trailers, open-air slums. They do exist in Collier County. They exist on Radio Road, right at Airport and Radio. You can travel a little east, and on the left, there's a ton of them. In particular, in East Naples, out by 951 and Immokalee Road, there are some open-air slums. Very terrible places to be, especially after the hurricane. The standing water and wrecked shanty-type situations. Very, very troubling stuff happening out there. Also, need in Naples also manifests itself a little differently because we have some really nice places. 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartments, $3,000 a month in nice areas. And so families, they have dignity and they can go, oh, I can live in this disgusting squalor, or hey, if I team up with 3 other families, we can each share a bedroom somewhere half decent. And so that is another form of need when you have an entire family living in one bedroom. And so here at Habitat, we target, or we offer to help those who make about 60% of AMI. And so those are people that would traditionally never be able to qualify for a traditional mortgage, especially in Collier County. I tell people the median household price in Collier County is $300,000. The newspaper's throwing around $420,000 just this week is the median price, which for people that work honest jobs, 30 grand a year each, mom and dad, and they're pulling in 60 grand, which honestly, that shouldn't be a difficult proposition to buy a simple, decent home. And so the trouble is that it is. And then also, renting markets are very difficult right now. We have in Collier County a 99% occupancy, which I do a little business talk to people. I love about occupancy and such.
90.
But 99% is very tough. You got to think, what is that 1%? That 1% is that couple hours someone's moving out before someone else is moving back in. It just doesn't allow for the freedom of exchange of people to find nice places or say, hey, I've had enough with you, I'm moving. So that's neat.
It pushes the rents up.
Pushes the rents up, and it pushes the quality of the units down. And so you have no air conditioning, water issues, all sorts of problems. And what we're also seeing more and more is people reconfigure pieces of their house and put an external door on it and allow families to live fundamentally without kitchen, without utilities in a room. So lots of different stuff happening as far as need. And then families, though, they have an ability to repay, and that's important. They go through an exhaustive background check. They work jobs. A lot of stuff goes into this, and even more so than a bank. A bank, Wells Fargo doesn't care, what kind of hoodwinks I was up to in my 20s. They don't care. They just want, you have the money, we'll loan it to you, we'll take the house away if you don't pay. Habitat, because we use volunteer labor to get that price way down, we partner with different organizations to make this possible. We cannot afford to have our name in the paper, or for you to find out, maybe the family you're helping did something that you don't agree with. But luckily for our organization, 15 families come to our organization for every one home we build. So we're able to really sift the cream of the crop, which is St. Tira here, and I'm going to let him speak here in a moment. And it's about that partnership. So St. Tira and families, the family that owns this special home, or Shawana, she's actually working right now, otherwise she'd be here. But we can visit her on our way out. She works at 2 different gas stations, and she's got a couple kids, and she's really exciting, but she's done her 500 hours. St. Tira is on his march for his 500 hours. Every family puts in 500 hours of sweat equity in it, as well as a down payment, and then they pay the affordable mortgage. Anyone who here has had a mortgage, I have a mortgage, I was just looking at this. I pay twice as much interest as I do principal. And so that's kind of how it is. And you think, how can you build something and loan it for an equitable amount? Well, when you take off the interest, it becomes pretty equitable. And so families typically pay about $800 a month. And something like this should cost around $800 a month. Now, quickly, about this house. It's very special. This house makes my boss very, very nervous. We build simple, decent homes. We build small footprints. So most of our homes are around 1,200 square feet. This is about 1,400. None of our homes are in the city of Naples. I know that this neighborhood is a little different than the classic Naples that you think of, but it's still within city property, and this area, investors have their eye on it for sure. This is going to change a lot radically in the next 10 years, 5 years, 2 years. The city of Naples, as you hear, there's an affordable housing crisis. The city of Naples can't do much about it. It's the 15th richest zip code in the nation, as you might have seen. I thought Pelican Bay was, honestly, but got away from me this time. But next time, I'm sure. And they're looking at ways to have that. You can't have affordable housing in Pelican Bay either. It's an economic reality. But City of Naples said, hey, we have this lot we picked up. It's just weird in an inventory. They donated it to Habitat.
This one here?
This one here. This piece of land, yeah, donated by the City of Naples. And we're like, wow, this is an opportunity. And so we said, well, we could build a normal Habitat home, but which would be great. It'll look like a similar home to the rest of the homes. But we're thinking about in 10 years, when this whole area is redeveloped and you have Gordon style mansions on the Gordon River here.
Yeah.
How is this house going to look? And so we have this opportunity, and we have this reality that in 10 years, people are going to look at this house and say, scrape it. So we teamed up. We went to this guy named Matt Craig. He's a very famous architect, MHK, architecture and planning, #1 architect in town. To get him to draw you something costs probably around $100,000, and incredible firm. He said, hey, I love what you're doing. I love this idea. And so he and his staff design and give us the prints for this for free. So we get the land for free, we get this new design for free. Also, Matt Craig, he designed stuff in Port Royal. And so one thing about this home is it's kind of Port Royal light. You can notice it has things that we don't do. We don't do vaulted ceilings like this and tall doors. And so we're thinking, well, we already got so much donated. D'Agostino and Wood then donates the surveying, and people are donating stuff. So we said, let's keep going. And now we're just getting everybody to donate everything. So that's one reason why this house is going to be so awesome. And it's going to probably appraise for like $500,000. But we don't care, because everything's been donated and it's in good spirit. And it is going to help us redefine what affordable housing can look like. People say not in my backyard. It's a classic thing in Collier County, is people don't want affordable housing. But I don't think anyone would see this house and say, don't put that in my backyard. This is a home I think people would really appreciate to have in their backyard. And I know the neighbors in the neighborhood are really appreciative of what we're doing here for this. Shawana is a lifelong resident of the area, and so the windows weren't donated, but they were provided half off, which made them cheaper than their normal windows. They're really nice, and they're basically at cost. The roof shingles were free. I just got off the phone yesterday with Rock Solid. They're donating the countertops, if you ever heard of them. They want you to be
hard to avoid.
Right? Yeah. So we're on the hunt. So if you own a business or know someone that owns a business that could help us get to the final stages, right now we're trying to work with someone to get the flooring down. But yeah, we're really excited about this house. And without further ado, St. Tira. Yeah, come on up and you know, we already went through all this. We're good. You got
All
it.
right, good morning, everybody. Good
Morning.
As I said before, my name is Setiwa Prophet. I came from Haiti in July 24th, 2011. And this is my mother, Verity. And like I can say, she's my hero. And she has come over here for a long time, and she has been working so hard, especially, a working lady. And I thank God for her. It's a blessing, and she cares for us. And she has six kids, six children, six boys, and she
Six
has been
boys.
working so hard. And finally, to be honest with you, when she got me here, I've seen exactly what she's been through. And I'm a married man. I'm a father. I have a wife, and we have 5 children together. And it's a big family. It's a family of 7. And it has been a tough time for me. I've been struggling to get my family here. It was kind of hard, to live over here and leave family behind. Especially when they sick, you cannot see them. It has been very tough for me. But it was a challenge. But thank God, now I have my wife and all my kids. They are here. I've been working ever since I got here. I've been working so hard. I've been doing dishwasher, and I'm a landscaper. You know, it's I know for sure I couldn't do it without God. And when I finally get my family here in April 10, 2017, I was living in 1 bedroom, and it wasn't even on my name. I had to rent it to a friend of mine. And when the office finally find out that we all in 1 bedroom, they were asking my friend. They said, you have 2 choices: put me out or you out. And he had no other choice. But he didn't really want to let me go. But he has no other choice. I had to leave. I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't know what to do. Even though at that time I had money to get an apartment for my family. I've been applied for so many and for many places, but nothing came up. And one thing I told my wife, God never mistaken, and I know we're here for a reason. We're not here by mistake. And I told my wife, one thing we're going to do, since we have a van, I think we're going to sleep in the van. So, I got a storage. We start putting our stuff in the storage. But I told my wife, you know what? Maybe we're going in Walmart at the parking lot. Maybe that's where we're going to sleep, because I was homeless. We had nowhere to go. And one friend of mine, he used to be my coworker. He called me on the phone. He said, "Hey, Prophet, I know your situation, and my wife has a bedroom since the kid went to college, so we're not using it. I know your situation. Can you come over? You feel free." And I said, "Really?" And he said yes. And when I went there, because he's my friend, but I don't really know his wife like that. When I went there, I talked to his wife, and I was asking her how much you going to charge me for the room, and she said, "No, I won't charge you anything. God put you, on my heart to help you out, and I know you need it." And finally, we stayed with them like for almost 3 months, and I feel like I wanna cry, but it was kind of tough. And I've been looking, and one day, me and my friend, we went fishing, because I love fishing, and my phone was ringing. And when I got the phone, and a lady was talking to me. She said, "Are you looking for a place to stay, to live?" I said, "Oh yeah. I've been looking for so many times. I have applied in so many places, but they never called me." She said, "Well, I have a 3 bedroom and 1 bath in Golden River. Are you interested?" I said, "Yes. And she said, "All right, what you gonna do for me? Give me your email, and I'll send you the address." And I gave her my email, and she sent me the address. I didn't even know Golden River was right there. Because I've never go there, and I didn't apply for Golden River apartment. And I finally got at the office, and she was asking me for one thing, for 4 pay stubs, and I gave her I gave her the full pay stub, and she said, "Well, you qualified." And I can't tell you how much excited I was that day. And in next 2 days, we were able, to move in our new home. My kids, they were happy. And you see, my mom, she's a good lady, but she left Naples, I think, for a couple years now, and she lives in Fort Lauderdale. So she wasn't there to help me, but I know for sure, God is great all the time, and I'm a believer, and I thank God. And one of my coworkers, and he had a Habitat homie who was talking to me about why don't you come and apply? And I went there, and I applied, and I've been qualified. And I'm so happy that to know that there's help somewhere. Sometimes you just don't know the way, but you need someone to say, hey, this is the way to go. We need each other every single day. And Habitat people, they are good people, and it's a good organization. So imagine that you were a homeless man, now you're going to have 4 bedrooms for you and your family. I can tell you how much excited I am. I'm a hard-working man, but sometimes it's tough. It's tough. I'm doing landscaper, especially in summer. It's very humid, but I get used to it. And this is something I really love to do. It seems like I have a passion for it, and I want to keep continue and pushing forward. Maybe one day I'll have my own, and that's exactly what I want to do. And I'm happy, and it's a blessing. And may God continue to bless Habitat people. May God continue to bless America.
All right, thanks.
All right, so just the 2 things I want to touch on. His story, obviously, it's so tough to even get out of living in your car, even if he's got the money. There's so tough. One thing I also like about Prophet's story is that it's his friend that tells him, hey, you should apply for a Habitat house. I have one. I love it. Our homeowners love what happens when they come through the program. How long has your friend been a homeowner?
No, about like a couple of years now.
A couple of years, and they love it. So one of our number one ways of interacting with people is referrals, and that's from a business standpoint, that's always very, very heartwarming. So yeah, thank you so much for coming out and working your hours and telling everyone your story, because it's difficult to kind of open yourself up like that. So if anyone has any questions before I get you back to the salt mines.
You have strict qualifications, criteria?
Right, yeah.
Stick to them, or do you adjust your
No,
application approvals according to circumstance, or how do you?
so there is flexibility in a grander sense, but as far as what we look for, people have to make 60% of AMI, between 60 and 80, 60 and 79 of AMI. That is the income amount. So that's kind of a hard and fast rule. Because we have 15 families applying, families that are qualified tend to have children, because that is the most heinous when you have children in untenable sleeping conditions. That's not a rule, but that's what you see out of the data. Criminal record, that'll disqualify you. Credit score, a poor one would disqualify you. So they have many strong rules, and just the number of applicants enables us not to have to deviate.
You get 15, how many months in a year? Or what?
15 for every one home, so that's about 1,500 applications, or people inquiring a year.
So what's your pace of construction per year?
Pace, we try to do about 100 homes.
100 homes.
Right, so some interesting stuff with that. And
How long does it take to do one start to finish?
so we put the walls up on this about mid March. To get the walls up, take it 1 day. But to get it to this is taking, I think, 6 weeks right now, 5 weeks. And we're hoping to have it done within 2 months, or 2 months of the start date. So yeah, windows in. They just got to put the siding on, and they'll be like, wow, siding's on. It'll look like a full house. Some interesting
Furnishings,
stuff.
when they move in, do they get furnishings, or they provide that themselves?
They provide that themselves, but we have a home store which sells furnishings, and they get stuff at Blue Deck.